We in here talking about trade rumors. Not the draft. Not the draft. Trade rumors. Go, Spurs, go, 'cause the Giants stay. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you had a great weekend. And yes, we're back talking about the Spurs' potential trades. And I saw something on Air Alamo this morning, though the trade was actually created by Sports Illustrated. And I thought, you know what? I want to talk about this because this is a player that some of you have said you wanted, but there's also players here that a lot of you said you don't want. So I'm curious to see what the feedback's going to be on this trade proposal. Let's get into the article from AA. Everyone agrees that this roster needs to be upgraded. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But nobody can come to a consensus on the path to do so. That is correct. I love reading your comments. We're all going 100 different directions on how we'd like to see the Spurs put the team together for next season. Sports Illustrated has an idea that will cost San Antonio less draft capital than most of the other suggestions we've seen, but that means more players are involved. The Spurs were received from the Utah Jazz, and I have a feeling Danny Ainge would want more than this, but we'll roll with it this morning. We get Lauri Markkanen. The Jazz received You Don't Mess with the Sohan, Keldon Johnson, HB, and our 14th overall pick from the upcoming draft in, just a little over 2 weeks. All right. Would you make that trade? Would I make that trade? I'll answer that in just a few moments. Let's finish the article first. The deal doesn't require Brian Wright to give up Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, or the number 2 pick. It does, however, hurt the team's depth. The Pacers and the Thunder are showing us just how important fielding a deep roster is. They really are. The finals, last night's game wasn't very exciting as the Thunder had control of the whole game, but seeing how deep their rosters are does kind of make you go, maybe these 8-man rotation rosters aren't the NBA of the future. Maybe they're going to be more 9 and 10. Anyway, let's continue out the article. What is happening here? Okay. Where are we? Is Markkanen worth 3 rotational pieces? Yes and no. Lauri would be joining his 14 if he were to be traded, okay? He went from 14 points per game to 25 in one season, so he made a big jump. It was quite the jump, and that put him on the NBA map. That was when he was an all-star, right? 25 points per game season, I believe. However, his points average dropped with the Jazz to 23 the following year and then 19 this past season. So was the 25-point year a blip or something organizations can rely on him making his way back to? The answer has more to do with his health than anything. He has been injury prone. And here it is right here. Lauri has missed 78 games over the last 3 seasons. He's been in the league for 8 years, and he's only played more than 65 games twice. The most recent ailment was a lingering lower back issue that forced him to miss more than 30 games this year. However, the Jazz were likely tanking. The Jazz were tanking, but the injuries to their star were real, and those problems have followed him from the beginning of his career. If Markkanen will remain healthy enough to put together a real season where he plays 70 games, something he's never done, honestly, I don't expect him to do so, and can recapture that trajectory he was on when he received his only All-Star selection, Air Alamo says he is worth it then. If he can't be trusted to be on the floor, there's no way this deal could be looked at as a win for our Spurs. Let me go ahead and give my 2 cents. First off, let's talk salary cap first. When we're talking trades, we have to look at the cap. I know there's some folks that we don't need to get into that, but we do. The CBA is real. It doesn't mess around, and when you're trading players, you just can't trade Markkanen for Malachi Branham and say, yeah, it works if you throw some picks in too. You got to look at the cap. So now we're talking cap. And looking at the cap, Lauri Markkanen is set to make $46 million this coming season. Jeremy Sohan, 7. Keldon Johnson, 17.5. Harrison Barnes, 19. And the 14th overall pick is going to be worth about $2 million. That totals up just to a little over $45.5 million, because I think Sohan's just under 7.1. So it's close to 46. So it is a salary match in year 1 and probably a salary match in year 2. And then that becomes a mess because he's got 3 more years on his contract after that, if I'm looking at it correct. 46, 49, 53. Or is it 2? 46 is coming season. 4 years. 46, 49, 53 are the next 3 years. So year 1, 40. I'm messing this up. I'm confusing myself. 46, 49, 53 the next 4 years for Lauri Markkanen. So the year 1 and 2, it probably will work. But then it's going to cross over with Wemby's contract extension. And then the last year of his contract, the $53 million, is going to cross over into Stephon Castle's extension, which is going to make our salary cap an absolute disaster. That would put us over the cap, over the luxury tax, the first apron, second apron, and the Spurs are not going to do that. I love our Spurs. They're not going to go blowing the salary cap out of the water and going into those aprons and getting taxed beyond belief. So simply because of the salary cap, the trade doesn't make sense. But for me, it's a no because he's injury prone. I've talked about Lauri Markkanen before. My stance has not changed. Even though we're not giving up in this scenario any of our big key components, arguable on Jeremy Sohan. Some may argue Kellen's an important cog of the wheel. We're not giving up the second overall pick or any future first, but that contract and how much time he misses, for me, it's just a no way. I know some of you say he's worth it. I know some are going, TSR, you're nuts. These three guys, plus the 14th overall pick, absolutely worth it. And that's what I'm curious hearing your thoughts. Do you think he is worth those players plus the 14th overall pick? And I'm sure Ainge would want more. Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe just wants to get out of the contract. But if you're going to do this trade, remember you're going to have major cap issues in year 3 and 4 when Lauri's making 49 and 53. The 49 is going to be part of Wemby's contract extension. The 53 is going to be part of Stefan Castle's contract extension. Plus, you have De'Aaron Fox's big contract extension likely in there as well. New CBA is not a joke. I can't see this happening just for money reasons. Same thing with Giannis Antetokounmpo. His salary over the next 3 years, I think he's got 3 more years with the Bucks, is ginormous. Maybe we'll talk about Jaylen Brown. His contract's, I believe, even bigger. It's ridiculously huge. The only one that kind of works contract-wise is Kevin Durant, and I'm not saying I want KD, but his huge contract expires in 2 years. I believe he's got like a 1-year contract plus maybe an option, player option, which means it's over before Wemby's contract extension. There's one thing we have to really focus on is whenever we're doing these mock trades and we're, can we grab this player, TSR, maybe we can get this player. We have to remember Wemby's contract extension will be in 2 years. He's got 2 more years under his rookie contract, and he's going to get at least $40 million a year. Fox is probably going to be making around $50 million at that time. We can't have a third player on the roster making that kind of money. I have no idea what Stephen Castle's going to demand when his contract's up, and then you got Dylan Harper in the future. It could be interesting how the Spurs and Brian Wright are going to navigate this. I hope they work it out, but the way the CBA is set up, you're not going to have 3 players with $40 to $50 million $50 million per year contract on your roster. So we'll see what happens. If I've said it before, I'll say it again. If the Spurs pull off a trade, I'll be very sad to see these three guys go. Once a Spur, always a Spur. I'll root for Markkanen. I'll be like, all right, he's a Spur. Let's go. Please stay healthy. But I don't see it happening. The cap kills our depth. And Danny Ainge, let's be honest, I think he would take these 3 players plus the 14th pick. Plus, I'm guessing he's going to want at least 1 more first-round pick, maybe 2. I got to think they're going to want our second overall pick. Right? They're not going to want the 14th pick. It's going to be the second overall pick, and the Spurs aren't trading that for him. That's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go. Good.